I want this show to make sense. Is it possible for senseis to make sense? Can we do that? What happened to Chosen? Anyway, what's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovie.com, your favorite blind film critic, and this is Cobra Kai, Season 6, Episode 5. Recap, the final of the first part, which is a heavy episode. This does have audio description still on Netflix. It's produced by Descriptive Video Works. And there's some heavy fighting here, and the audio description is excellent. For people who were like, there wasn't a lot of fighting in the first couple episodes. There are these battles between Robbie and Miguel and Sam and Tori that are intense as hell, and I thought the audio description was excellent for those scenes. So, perfection. But we open up at the top with Tori. And I knew exactly what was going to happen because when was the last time we checked in on Tori's mom? And like, we open with Tori talking to her mom's doctor. And they're like, oh, your mom's doing really good. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. She's turning around. I was like, dead. Her mom is dead. I was like, her mom is dying this episode. Poor Tori. But I really wanted this, like, her new family to be like #fam and like really embrace her, and for Tori to feel that, because she also sort of gets approached by Crease, who's like, they'll never love you. And that's kind of what was happening, but Tori didn't get that. Like, Tori just blows it off. She's just like, no. And Johnny kind of has a perspective on it that I thought was important, that they didn't understand, but nobody goes after her. Like, everybody's like concerned. It was such a weird episode. It's very Tori centric, so I'm gonna be talking about Tori a lot. So they decide not to deal with the Devin thing at all. Devin is just in. What's his face isn't even in the episode. The kid she fed, I can't remember his name. We didn't need more of him anyway, but yeah, he's not in the episode at all. She asks Anthony where he is, and he's like, I don't know, I haven't seen him since the incident, you know. Okay, well, I don't think this episode ends in Barcelona, so I don't think we're gonna be seeing him for a while. Could be wrong on that, but he didn't make the trip, so I don't know when we'll ever catch up with him again. But that's also kind of a shitty way to write somebody. Literally shitty way of writing somebody off the show, if that is the final time we see him. Yeah, so Tori, she goes home. She's got the new prescriptions from her mom's doctor, new doctor's orders, goes home, her mom's dead. Just like dead already, like just out on the floor. Actually, I don't know if she's dead already, but she's unconscious on the floor. It does say that she's unconscious on the floor. And then she never wakes up from anything. Like, Tori later at the hospital, she's sitting there and the doctor comes in and she's like, I'm sorry, Tori. And she had a pulmonary embolism and there's no way we could have caught that. And we didn't know, blah, blah, blah. And Tori's upset. She punches something and then leaves. And then meanwhile, she had this interaction with Crease in the middle of all this, where Crease is like, I wanted to check on my champion. She's like, I'm not your champion. You know, you left me with that psychopath, meaning Silver. And she's like, she's got her Miyagi-Do thing, and she's part of Miyagi-Do, and he's like, oh, I see. They'll never really appreciate you. And I kind of feel like they have. But Tori just didn't have the perspective or the headspace to be able to appreciate what was happening. They were just kind of like, she hadn't really told anybody. So what happens is she goes home. She ignores Robbie's, like, I don't know, 87 text messages and phone calls. Robbie is really trying. I don't know why does Robbie just not know where Tori lives? It's like, you're dating, right? Do you not know where she lives? Go to her house, man. So I think they're dating. I think Miguel and Sam are dating, and then Robbie and Tori are dating. And earlier that day they had planned where Robbie and Tori were going to practice, and Miguel and Sam were going to practice together. So that way when Robbie has to face Miguel and Tori has to face Sam for the team captain spot, they wouldn't have seen each other's moves, which I thought was a smart move. I didn't think that was like separation. I felt like that was just, I mean, they're trying to do that. They're trying to divide the people, right? But at the same time, I thought it was, I mean, it made sense, you know? Even though they're all like kumbaya and stuff, it does make sense to train with somebody else who isn't then, who doesn't know all your moves, doesn't know how you're going to attack. So Tori's just dealing with a lot of stuff. Meanwhile, they try to do this thing with Johnny where he takes over training for a day, and Daniel's not happy with it and thinks Johnny isn't fully embracing Miyagi-Do. His wife's trying to calm him down about it and be like, you know, Johnny's really trying. You're just not really seeing it. You're just kind of wrapped up in this Mr. Miyagi secret box of stuff. And I don't know what happened to Chosen. I really don't. He wasn't in episode 4, he's on episode 5. I guess he quit. He's just vanished. He's not invested at all in the final training of the Sex Contenders. He's just gone. So this is really just left to Daniel and Johnny. Very strange. So anyway, there's a little bit of a rift between those two, and which is, you know, Johnny tries to quit the car dealership as sort of like a reaction to Daniel taking the teens and doing some training like in the park or something like that, and he sees them, and I don't know what his reaction was. It was very weird. Johnny's storyline didn't make a whole lot of sense. It just felt like they were filling it in just because they, like, if this episode was all Tori all the time, you know, I kind of also really felt for Tori because at the same time they're asking all these characters, like, what is it they want? You know, why is it that they need this? And when they got to Sam, she's like, I just need to prove myself, you know, like to prove it to myself or something like that. She has like the weakest reason to want to be a champion. Because it always feels like she's just doing this because her dad did it. And Tori is doing it legitimately because she is a fighter, and we see this whole backstory with her and her mom. She painted this little bottle cap purple, and I guess her mom was abused. And she told her daughter, you know, we're going to be fighters now. You're going to be a fighter. So, I mean, she's just had that in her bones the whole time to be strong and fight. So, and her win was bought. So she didn't actually win anything. It was bought and paid for. So she wants to know, is she really good enough? And Sam doesn't seem to have that same drive. It sort of is like the same thing, but when she's asked the question, it's sort of like, I don't know. I guess I just kind of want to prove it to myself. You know, I just kind of want to know for myself. It's like, okay. Meanwhile, like, Robbie and Miguel have very strong feelings about why they need to be team captain. Miguel thinks by being team captain and winning that it will get him into Stanford because he's been deferred. And Robbie has never won. He always takes second place. So he's tired of taking second place and he wants to take first place. So they both have very strong reasons. And then Robbie obviously doesn't want to, you know, because college is not in his future, feel like that he's any less of a human being than Miguel, simply because he's choosing not to go to college. But when we come around to it and we see Tori is, she's there, she shows up, she didn't practice with Robbie, she's clearly upset. We know as an audience what happened with her, but she's ready to throw down with Samantha for this thing. It's like you kind of have a feeling that something's going to happen. And she is super aggressive in the fight. She's a little hesitant to even fist bump Sam. But she does. And she keeps her head straight. She's like, no, I really need this. I need to fight. I need to do this right now. And Daniel and Amanda try to stop it, but Johnny doesn't want to stop it. And he's like, look, when my mom died, all I ever wanted to do was just, I needed to get out there and I needed to work it out. And I just wanted to hit something. I needed to punch something. And that's all Tori's trying to do. And Daniel's like, well, maybe that's not healthy. That's not the right way of doing things. It's not the Miyagi-Do way of, and Johnny flips out and is like, well, you know, I'm tired of hearing about Miyagi. He wasn't as great of a person as you thought, blah, blah, blah. And then Daniel just punches him. And then Johnny's like, you know what? He doesn't punch him back. This is how much Johnny has changed since season 1. He just is like, you know what? We're going to continue this partnership for the kids. But once this tournament is over, I never want to work with you ever again. And then he leaves. And it's just like, damn. In that moment, like, you feel the growth of Johnny's character, and where is Daniel? You know, like, where has Daniel gone in this whole thing? So I would have much rather seen, I wanted Tori to be team captain over Samantha. I think Robbie and Tori's storylines should have been, because they really have kind of risen from the bottom, and Miguel kind of had his time at the top, and Samantha just kind of feels like she really is there because of her dad. Like, they haven't really built enough strong female fighter characters. They abandoned Aisha, you know. I mean, like, they literally, I think they only have 3 females at the dojo, because when Tori drops out, she gets replaced by Hawk. So then they're taking 4 guys and 2 girls to Sekai Tai. So yeah, I mean, cool. Hawk gets to go. That's nice. Instead of Kenny, I remembered his name. Kenny. Sometimes I just work these things out eventually. But yeah, I mean, Hawk deserved to go anyway. So I guess that solves Dimitri's thing, where he, you know, sort of like underhandedly stole the shit from Hawk. But later on, and I totally knew this was going to happen, I was like, of course Tori's going to call up Crease, and Tori's going to appear on the other team. And of course she does. At the end, she appears on Crease's team. And it's like, Crease is still like a wanted fugitive. And this is Spain. And Spain has extradition. I really don't know why he's showing his face. This is what doesn't make sense to me, is it's like, he still has to be a behind-the-scenes guy, a shadows guy. He can't really step out because he's still a guy who broke out of jail. Like, there would be a warrant for him, and all anybody has to do is just report him. And I'm fairly certain, because we're pretty cool with Spain, that they have extradition. I don't think Spain's one of those countries that's like, no, we don't have extradition to the United States. I just don't think that that's a thing for Spain. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like that's a really bold thing for him to just be like out and proud and be like, this is my dojo now with this woman who just appeared, and we've created this dojo in the last couple episodes with this fighter that nobody cares about. I don't know. I hate what I said in the first couple recaps. I hate what they're doing with Crease this season. And I hate now that Tori's with him. Tori needed to understand, and I hope Tori's in the next couple episodes gets to feel that. But if she feels that, then that means that she has to drop out and then she doesn't get to win. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, either she wins for Crease, which is a win for Crease, which she shouldn't get because this is such a weird, shitty storyline, but it's a win for Tori, or but I don't know how else Tori feels like that group really cared about her, that they had actually appreciated her. I mean, her boyfriend's over there. Robbie texted / called, and she ghosted him like 1,000 times. She just didn't want to talk to him, wasn't ready for it. And that was Robbie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not somebody who's like born with privilege or whatever. That was somebody who grew up in the same sort of rough lifestyle that she grew up in. So they understand each other. If there was anybody she could have talked to in that moment, it would have been Robbie. And she didn't do that. So yeah, very odd. I don't know how I feel about the episode and the choices. It's one of those things where it's like, we're mid-season technically at this point, so we have to see how it plays out. And sometimes you just go, well, I've liked the show thus far, so I have to trust where the show is going. But that's kind of what led Game of Thrones fans to the final season that they got, is they were like, well, we've liked the show up until this point. I'm sure the final season will be fine. Oh, shit. And I felt the same way, too, for Lost. I was like, oh, I like the final season, and then I hated the final season of Lost. So, nah, you can kind of trust in the showrunners, but at the same time, it's sometimes people can get wrapped up in their own hubris, and they get out of touch with the fans and kind of like understand where fans' heads are at, and they kind of go off on their own way. And because of where Crease's storyline is and how oddly and shittily it's been developed, and now we've materialized this dojo, it's just like, what is happening here? So I can't say that I fully trust them moving forward. I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't know that I'm going to like it. I wanted more from this episode, and there was an excellent opportunity here for more of these kids to step up, and they kind of let the adults handle it. There wasn't really a whole lot of love coming from the kids, especially Robbie. Like, I was like, Robbie, get the fuck over there, man. Like, chase after your girlfriend. Do something. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, yeah, I expected more from Robbie, definitely. But anyway, so we'll get 5 more episodes and then 5 more episodes. So it's like 3 parts of this final season. And then there's a movie, by the way. 6 seasons in a movie. Hashtag six seasons in a movie. Which, by the way, the Community movie is happening at some point. I don't know when. I don't know when it's coming out, but there is a Community movie, so they are getting their 6 seasons in a movie. But I love the fact that also Cobra Kai went 6 seasons in a movie. That needs to be more of a thing. Like, more shows need to do 6 seasons in a movie. So, yeah. Jackie Chan, for those who don't know, is they're joining him into the franchise. So the Jackie Chan from Jaden Smith's is now being retconned into. I kind of really want Hilary Swank to show up. I've said that a couple times, because it feels like if we're traversing the entire Karate Kid universe, you can't really do it without Hilary Swank popping in at some point. But considering everybody else who's made cameos throughout the franchise, it's very weird that they have ignored her as the next Karate Kid. But you're going to jump all the way to Jackie Chan. I don't know if Jaden is going to pop up. That would be funny. But yeah, call up Hillary. She's not doing that much. Her shows keep getting canceled, and her last movie was Ordinary Angels. I'm fairly certain she's down for a Cobra Kai appearance. Or a Karate Kid movie appearance, whatever. So, anyway, wouldn't that have been cool, by the way, if she was Tori's mom? Like, if that turned out to be, if we had never seen Tori's mom, then Tori's mom at the last minute turned out to be Hilary Swank. And you're just like, oh my God. She's a legacy character. Like, they didn't plan that. They should have. They should have just never shown Tori's mom, and then shown her at the last minute was Hilary Swank. And then she's only in 1 episode. And then you're just like, oh my God, that's who Tori's mom is. And then suddenly you're just like, oh shit, she's the next Karate Kid. And like, this is going to be excellent. I would totally have been jazzed for that. Like, see, I should have been in the writer's room. Anyway, I don't know what to give this episode. I'm all over this episode. I'm just not going to grade it. Parts of it I liked. I thought Peyton List did a really great job here. So, anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I'll see you guys on the other side.